Okay, so our lesson for today is all about quadratic equation. Let's define first what is quadratic equation. Okay, so we have several definitions of quadratic equations, but I just only get these two because this is the same in other definition. Okay, so in algebra, a quadratic equation comes from Latin word quadratus for square. Is any equation in one variable of degree 2. Next is a quadratic equation is a second degree equation that is determined the variable with the highest exponent is of degree 2. So when we say quadratic equation, this is a kind of equation where the highest possible exponent or the highest exponent of an equation is on the second degree. Okay? So, next. Let's identify whether the equation is quadratic or not. So we have the number one example. So we have x squared plus 6x plus 3 equals to 0. So is it a quadratic or not? It is a quadratic. Why? Because based on the definition, the equation is on the second degree. And if you take a look, the degree is on the second or the exponent is on the second degree, meaning it is a quadratic equation. Next, example number 2. X cubed minus 5x plus 4 equals to 0. So x cubed. So meaning it is not a quadratic equation because of the exponent 3. Okay? So it is not a quadratic equation. Next, example number 3. 5x minus 8 equals to 4x. Is it a quadratic or not? It is not a quadratic. Why? Because as you can see, that the exponent of the variable is 1. So meaning, it is not a quadratic equation. It is a linear equation. Okay? Next. Example number 4. X squared minus 5x plus 4 equals to x squared. Is it a quadratic or not? It is not quadratic. Why? Because even that the highest degree of the equation is 2, but here if you're going to transpose it to the left side of the equation, it will be simplified. And then x squared become x squared minus x squared because you're going to transpose to the left side of the equation. So it will be cancelled. And then the equation would be left here is negative 5x plus 4. So 5x plus 4 is a linear equation because of the highest exponent or the highest degree of the exponent is 1. So this is not a quadratic equation. Next, number 5. So negative 6x plus 5 equals to negative x squared. Is it a quadratic or not? It is a quadratic. Why? Because if you're going to transpose negative x squared to the left side of the equation, it becomes positive x squared minus 6x plus 5. Okay? So, this is a quadratic equation. Next, standard form of quadratic equation. So, the standard form of quadratic equation is in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. Where x represents the unknown and a, b, and c are real numbers and a is not equal to 0. If a equals 0, then the equation is linear, not quadratic as there is no ax squared term. So when we say standard form of quadratic equation, so yung x po, siya po yung palaging hinahanap natin. Okay po? Nire-represent po niya kung ano yung hinahanap natin. And then si A, B, and C, sila po yung mga real numbers natin. Okay? So when we say real numbers, these are the numbers. Like for example, 1, 5, negative 6. So that are the real numbers. So example lang po yan. Next, kapag sinabi naman natin, kapag yung a po natin is equals to 0, ibig sabihin po nun, hindi po quadratic yung equation natin. Ibig sabihin po nun is isa siyang linear. Kasi ang highest degree po ng linear is 1. And take note that a must not equal to 0. Kasi pag nag-equal to 0 po yan, uulitin ko, hindi po siya quadratic. Siya po ay linear. Hanggat wala pong ax squared term. Okay? Next. So in the equation ax squared plus bx plus c, so we are going to identify what do we call in each term. Okay, so for ax squared is what do we call the quadratic term. Why quadratic term? Because of the exponent 2 or the degree 2. Next, bx is what we call the linear term because of the imaginary 1 degree. The next, c is what we call the constant term because the degree of the constant term is 0. Okay? So, example for quadratic equation in standard form and identify the value of a, b, and c. Okay? So, let's have number 1 example, x squared plus 5x plus 3x equals to 0. Okay? So, we're going to identify the value of a, b, and c. Okay? So, kung papansin ninyo, yung equation natin is naka-standard form. Meaning, naka-standard form is naka-ax squared plus bx plus c yung form niya. Okay? So, unahin muna natin si x squared. So, ano nga ba yung value ni a? Kapag sinabi po natin value ni a, ito po yung mga numbers. Hindi po kasama ang mga variables natin at mga exponent. Kapag sinabi natin numbers, o yung mga value ng a, b, and c, ito po ay mga numbers. Okay po? Hindi po kasama si variable. So, ang numbers po o ang value po ni a is equals to 1. Bakit po equals to 1? Kung papansinin niyo po, kapag meron po kayong makitang equation na x squared lang po or x man yan, always po na merong imaginary 1 as numerical coefficient. Okay? Tandaan po palagi, meron pong imaginary 1 as numerical coefficient. Next, ang value naman ni b ay 5. Bakit siya 5? Dahil yung tabi ni x ay 5. Okay? Next, value naman ni c ay 3. Okay, so dahil constant siya. Siya na lang yung walang variable. So, yan po yung value ni a, b, and c sa ating quadratic equation. Next, example number 2 is 4x squared plus 4x minus 3 equals to 0. So, hahanapin natin ngayon ang value ni a, b, and c sa ating quadratic equation. So, ang value ni a dito, since 4 yung nasa tabi ni x squared, ibig sabihin, ang a natin ay 4. Okay? Next, ang value naman ni b, since 4 yung katabi ni x natin dito, so ilalagay natin na 4. Okay? Ngayon, paano naman yung value ni c? Positive ba siya or negative? So, magiging negative po. Kasi yung operation po na minus, automatic po na magiging sign ni 3. Kung minus po yan, ibig sabihin ang value ni c ay negative 3. Pero kapag plus po yan, ang value ni c ay positive 3. Okay? Next, quadratic equation without b, x, c, or both and identify the value of a, b, c. So, we're going to identify the value of a, b, c with the missing terms. Okay? So, let's have example number 1 again. 2x squared plus 5x equals to 0. Okay, so what is the missing term? Okay, so as you can see that the missing term here is the constant term because we don't have numbers. Okay, so but we have the quadratic term and the linear term. So let's identify the value of a, b, and c. So we have 2. So ang value po ni a natin is 2 kasi yung number po nakatabi ng variable x natin ay 2. Next, hindi po natin isasama si variable x. Tandaan po palagi. Then next, ang value po ni b ay 5. Kasi yung katabi po ni x na number ay 5. Hindi po natin ulit isasama si x. Then next, since wala namang value si c, or wala namang ibang numbers dito, so ibig sabihin nun, ang value ng c natin ay 0. Okay? Next, x squared minus 25 equals to 0. So, ulit, missing term, ano yung missing term natin? Yung linear term. Wala po yung linear term natin. Kasi kung papansinin mo, ax squared term, yung first term natin is x squared. And then yung constant is negative 25. Wala po yung linear term natin. Okay? So, hanapin natin ngayon ang value ni a, b, and c. So, we have a squared, x squared. So, ang value po palagi ni a, kapag nakakita po kayo ng ganitong term, automatic po na 1 po yung value ni a. Next, walang value si b. Kasi Wala po ditong linear term. Ang meron lang po is a constant term. Ang value po ni C ay negative 25. Bakit siya negative 25? Kasi yung operation po natin is minus. Automatic po na kapag minus yan, magiging negative yung value ni C. Pero kapag plus naman po yan, automatic na magiging positive 25 yung value ni C. Okay po. Next. So, number 3 example is x squared equals to 11. So, wala po tayong linear term kung papansinin nyo. Pero yung 11 po na constant term natin is nasa right side ng equation natin. So, paano ba ang gagawin? So, identify muna natin yung value ni A. So, ang value ni A, gaya ng sinabi ko, kapag wala pong number sa tabi ni x, automatic po yan na meron siyang imaginary 1. Okay? So, we have A equals to 1. And B equals to 0 kasi wala naman pong linear term yung x po, yung merong x na variable. Okay? Then next, ang value naman ni C ay, ano sa tingin nyo? So, ang value ni C dito ay magiging negative 11. Bakit siya maging negative 11? Kasi kailangan nating gawin sa standard form natin na ax squared plus bx plus c. So, therefore, kailangan nating i-transpose si 11 sa ating left side ng equation natin para mabuo or para makompleto yung standard form natin kahit walang linear term. Okay? So, kapag i-transpose mo si 11 sa left side, kapag positive yan, magiging negative yung sagot. Pero kapag negative naman yan, magiging positive yung sagot natin. Pero dito, positive 11. So, kapag i-transpose mo yan, magiging negative 11. Okay? So, next quadratic equation in factored form. So, example is quantity x plus 4, quantity x minus 9 equals to 0. So, ano nga ba ang pinaka-the best method na gagamitin kapag meron po tayong mga two binomial expression na ganito? Okay? So, ang pinaka-the best na method po sa pag-solve ng quadratic equation is what we call the FOIL method. Okay? So, ano nga ba ang FOIL method? FOIL method stands for F for the first term, O for the outer term, I for the inner term, and L for the last term. Okay? So, let's proceed. We're going to identify now the FOIL, or the first, the outer, the inner, and the last term on our example. Okay, so let's have the first term, or the F. So we have x times x. So, meaning, kapag first term po, i-multiply po natin si x times x. So, meron po tayong x times x, the answer is x squared. Paano siya naging x squared? So, since nasa multiplication po tayo, at sa law ng exponent naman, ang sabi doon, kapag pareho po ng base, at nagmumultiply ka po ng parehong base, ibig sabihin, ipag-a-add mo lang po yung exponent ng variable mo. Gaya po nito. So, ito kasi is meron siyang imaginary 1 na variable, at meron din siyang imaginary 1 na variable. So, ipag-a-add mo lang po yan. So, kaya meron kang x squared. Okay? Next. So, we have the outer term, x times negative 9. So, i-multiply lang po natin si x kay negative 9. So, x times negative 9 equals to negative 9x. Yan po yung product niya. Ipagsasama lang po natin silang dalawa. Next, the inner term. So, we have 4 times x. So, 4 times x, the answer is 4x. So, ipagsasama lang po natin silang dalawa. Okay? Then, next, for the last term, we have 4 times negative 9. The answer is negative 36. So, tandaan nyo po palagi, kapag nag-multiply po tayo ng negative at positive, negative po palagi ang sagot. Pero kapag nag-multiply po tayo ng parehong negative, positive po palagi ang sagot. Okay? Next, so meron na tayong first term at meron na tayong, meron na tayong quadratic terms para sa ating quadratic equation. At meron na rin tayong minus 36 or negative 36 para sa ating constant term. Ngayon, ang tanong, paano natin hahanapin yung linear term natin? So, ang gagawin natin, ipag-combine lang natin si outer at si inner term. Bakit? Kasi like terms po sila or similar terms po sila. Ibig sabihin, pareho silang may number, pareho din pong may variable x. Okay? So, negative 9 plus 4, kasi positive 4, negative 9 plus 4, the answer is negative 5. And then, ikakopy lang po natin si variable x. Hindi po natin siya isusubtract. Okay po? Uulitin ko po. para sa pagkuha po ng linear term, isusubtract lang po natin si outer at si inner term. Okay? So, negative 9 plus 4. Okay? Bakit natin sila pagsusubtract? Kasi unlike sign po. Kapag same sign po sila or similar sign, ipag-add po natin sila. Okay? So, dito kasi is unlike sign, negative 9 and positive 4. So, kailangan natin niyang isubtract. So, negative 9 plus 4, the answer is negative 8. The answer is negative 5. And then, copy lang natin yung x. So, negative 5x. So, magiging sagot natin sa ating factored form is x squared minus 5x. Ito po. Ayan po, yung 5x natin. Minus 36 equals to 0. So, ayan po ngayon yung quadratic equation natin. Okay? So, next, quadratic equation not in standard form. So, paano nga ba mag-identify ng quadratic equation na hindi naka-standard form? Okay? So, ito yung unang example natin. Negative 9 equals to 3x, quantity 3x plus 3. So, ang unang-unang natin gagawin, since naka-parenthesis ito na muna yung gagawin natin. Ito. Kailangan natin i-apply si distributive property. Okay? So, sa pag-a-apply po ng distributive property, ganito po yung magiging process. 3x times x and 3x times 3. Okay? So, balikan po natin. 3x times x, the answer is 3x squared. Paano siya naging x squared? So, naging x squared po siya kasi nasa multiplication po tayo at sa loob po ng exponent, kapag same po ng base, ipag-add lang po natin yung exponent nila. Okay? Uulitin ko. Kapag nagmumultiply ka po at nasa law of exponent, kapag same po na base, gaya nito, pareho po silang x, so ipag-add lang po natin ang kanilang mga exponent. Kaya meron tayong 3x squared plus 3x times 3. So, we have 3 times 3, the answer is 9. And then, ilalagay lang po natin si x. Then, next, ang susunod na gagawin, since magkasama na si quadratic term natin, 3x squared at 9x, ang susunod natin gagawin, sino bang itra-transpose? Si 3x squared ba plus 9x or si negative 9? Okay? So, kapag itra-transpose mo kasi si 3x squared plus 9, magiging negative siya. Magdi-divide ka ulit ng negative sa buong equation mo. Pero kapag itra-transpose mo naman si negative 9, mas madali, mas okay yun. So, 9x, negative 9 times, negative 9 transpose to the right side of the equation, magiging positive 9. So, kumpleto na yung standard form mo. Ayan na ngayon yung standard form mo. So, 3x squared plus 9x plus 9 equals to 0. So, ayan na ngayon. So, ang value ng A natin is 3, ang value ng B is 9, and ang value ng C ay 9. Okay? Next, we have example number 2 is 2x squared minus x plus 4 equals to negative 3x squared. So, ang una mong gagawin, kung papansinin mo kasi itong equation natin na to, meron na tayong standard form na meron 2x squared minus x plus 4. Yan na yung standard form natin. Pero, meron pa kasing quadratic term sa right side ng equation natin. So, ang gagawin natin dyan, itra-transpose natin ngayon sa ating left side ng equation natin para sa ganun magkasama sila ni 2x squared kasi similar terms po yung mga yan. Pareho po sila ng terms. Okay? Next na gagawin, copy lang ito. Minus x plus 4 equals to 0. Next, isi-simplify na po natin ito by adding the like terms. Combining like terms. So, 3 plus 2, the answer is 5. And then, kokopyahin lang po si x squared. Hindi po natin ipag-add si exponent kasi nasa addition lang po tayo. Okay po? So, ulitin ko. 2x squared plus 3x squared, the answer is 5x. Okay? So, pinag-add lang po natin si 2 at 3. Kasi kailangan po silang pag-add. Pero si x squared po, hindi na natin kinakailangan ipag-add yung exponent. Kasi nasa addition po tayo. Okay? Next, then, write minus x plus 4 equals to 0. So, kompleto na ngayon yung ating standard form. Okay? So, ang value ng a is 5. Hindi na natin isasama si x squared. B equals to negative 1 and C equals to 4. Okay? So, last example is x quantity x plus 5 squared minus x cubed equals to 1. So, kung papansinin mo, meron tayong exponent na 2. So, ibig sabihin, ito muna yung una natin gagawin. So, getting the perfect square trinomial. So, paano nga ba kunin yun? So, una, squared mo yung first term. So, x squared, ibig sabihin nun, x raised to 2 is equal sa x squared. Tandaan po palagi, x times x is the same po siya sa x squared. Next, x times 5, the answer is 10. X times 5, the answer is 5x. 5x, ulitin ko, x times 5, the answer is 5x. Times 2 as the exponent become 10x. Next, square po natin si 5. So, 5 times 5, the answer is 25. Okay? So, ibig sabihin po ng 2 is i-square po natin yung first at last term natin. And then, saka natin i-multiply ng dalawang beses sa 2 yung middle term natin. Okay? And then next, copy lang natin, minus x squared equals to 1. Next, ano susunod na gagawin? Meron pa kasing x dito sa labas ni parenthesis. Okay? So, kailangan natin yang i-simplify. I-simplify natin yung parenthesis natin. So, x times x squared, the answer is x cubed. So, again, multiplication po tayo. Pinag-add po yung mga exponent ng variable natin. Gaya nito. Meron pong imaginary 1, kaya 1 plus 2, the answer is 3. Next, x times 10x, the answer is 10x squared. Bakit siya naging 10x squared? So, kasi wala naman ng ibang number dito, kaya 10. Okay? And then, imaginary 1 din yan. Kaya 10 times 1, the answer is 10. Next, x times x. So, ipag-add natin ulit yung exponent nila kasi nasa multiplication po tayo. So, x times x or 1 plus 1 as the exponent of x become x squared. Plus, x times 25 become 25x. Pinagsama lang po natin. Minus x cubed equals to 1. Next, kung papansinin mo, meron tayong x cubed dito, positive x cubed, and then minus x cubed. So, kung papansinin mo, pareho sila. Pero magkaiba sila ng sign. Parehong x cubed, pero magkaiba ng sign. So, pwede na natin i-simplify si x cubed kasi automatic yun na magiging 0 yung sagot. Kasi positive x cubed minus x cubed, ang sagot po nun ay 0. Okay? So, ang maiiwan na lang dito ngayon is 10x squared plus 25x minus 1. Paano naman siya naging minus 1? Itong 1 po natin ito, itra-transpose po natin ngayon sa left side ng equation natin para po mabuo yung ating standard form na ax squared plus bx plus c. So, ayan na po ngayon yung ating standard form. So, 10x squared plus 25x minus 1 equals 0. So, ang value po ng a natin is 10. Hindi na po natin isasama si x squared. Kasi value po, hindi po kasama ang variable. b is 25 and c is negative 1. Okay? So, that's all for today and thank you.